Hey guys, alright? Welcome everyone. We begin with a narrator's voice stating that in a vast sea, there are many islands where people live by their own rules, in search of adventure and freedom, in a world of pirates. In Lode Town, a representative of the world government addresses the crowd, declaring that pirates are a menace to the world, and the Navy is working tirelessly to apprehend them. On this day, a famous pirate known as Gold Roger, the Pirate King, has been captured and is about to be executed. Garp informs the people that Roger will be put to death for being a pirate. Someone in the crowd asks about his treasure, and Roger responds by saying that this world now possesses the treasure they seek, power and fame, so they can claim it for themselves. He urges them to set sail, and whoever finds it will have the wealth they desire. The crowd quickly disperses, leaving Garp concerned about the thousands of people who heard the request from the now-deceased Pirate King. The Pirate King's final words mark the beginning of the pirate era, where everyone sets sail across the seas in search of the lost treasure. Years later, we see Luffy sailing in his small boat, filled with excitement and hope of finding the hidden treasure to become the Pirate King. Unfortunately, his small boat is leaking, so he boards a barrel and drifts aimlessly across the vast sea. Later, he comes across two ships engaged in battle, and a captain named Alvida, who is wanted, along with her crew, invades the enemy ship and fights the men. She later interrogates the prisoners about a well-known pirate hunter, and one of them claims not to know where that man went, adding that Alvida was not on the hunter's wanted list. Alvida kills him and orders her servant Kobe to clean up the mess. As night falls, Kobe, who fears the captain, cleans her deadly weapon. Suddenly, he hears a voice and, following it, he discovers Luffy inside a barrel when he opens it. The young man is frightened, fearing that a pirate will kill him, but Luffy assures him that he's not that kind of pirate. He reminisces about his childhood 10 years ago, living with many other pirates who took him in and provided him with shelter. Returning to the present, Luffy says that being a pirate is great because it means freedom. However, Kobe argues that there's no freedom on the ship because the captain is cruel to the crew. Luffy tells him he can leave and reveals that he's on a quest for the One Piece, the Pirate King's treasure. Luffy mentions that once he leaves the ship, he's headed for the Grand Line, to the pirates' graveyard. This terrifies Kobe, as stories tell of enormous monsters and massive waves in that region. However, Luffy isn't afraid of such danger. They go up to the ship's deck where everyone is sleeping. Luffy grabs an oar and accidentally hits things, waking up the entire crew. Alvida approaches them and asks who the newcomer is. Luffy introduces himself as the future Pirate King. Alvida claims to be the strongest on the seas, while Luffy is just a boy. She asks Kobe who she is, and Luffy tells him he doesn't need to answer, but the captain insists that he belongs to her and does what she says. Luffy, however, says he doesn't. With that, she attacks them, but Luffy is incredibly agile and dodges her attacks with ease. When one of her pirates shoots at him, Luffy's body stretches, and the bullet doesn't penetrate him but bounces back. They discover that Luffy has the power to stretch. Alvida tries to strike him but can't land a hit, so she goes after Kobe instead. Luffy protects him and prepares an elastic punch, landing it on the captain and throwing her off the ship. On the island of Sixes, we see the feared Roronoa Zoro, the bounty hunter, visiting a shrine to mourn the loss of an old friend. A man named Seven approaches him and speaks of an organization known as Baroque Works. They are interested in Zoro's skills as a wielder of 3 swords. However, the bounty hunter declines to join, and Seven tells him that refusing means death for Zoro. Unfazed by the threat, Zoro unsheathes his swords and engages in a battle with Seven. Swift and skilled, Zoro fights him and effortlessly defeats him with 2 swords. Meanwhile, Luffy sails in another small boat with Kobe, who asks how Luffy can stretch. Luffy then recalls his childhood again, where, after getting injured, he received care from his friend and pirate captain, Shanks. After receiving care, he returns to Shanks' cabin and finds a box containing a type of fruit known as the Yakuma no Mi, the devil fruit, which exists in various forms throughout the world and can grant powers to its consumer. Curious about it, he eats it all. Outside at a bar, a pirate arrives with his men and asks for a drink, but there's none left as Shanks' crew drank it all. Out of goodwill, Shanks offers them the last bottle, but the furious pirate smashes it. However, the captain remains calm and doesn't fight over it. As he goes to clean up the mess, the intruding pirate breaks more glasses and leaves the place. The pirates there are good people and don't retaliate in any way.
Meanwhile, Luffy, witnessing the scene, approaches and questions why they didn't do anything. Shanks tells him that not everything needs to be resolved with a fight. Furious, Luffy calls Shanks a coward and tries to leave, but the captain, holding him back, discovers what Luffy did. Back in the present, Luffy and Kobe talk. Luffy asks his new friend what he wanted to be, and Kobe says he's always dreamed of joining the Navy to protect helpless people. Luffy encourages him to pursue his dream and asks him to take them to a Navy base so he can get a map. Elsewhere at sea, a young woman named Nami is in a small boat alone and in need of help. Fortunately, a ship with 2 pirates on board stops to assist her, believing she has treasure. They board her boat and open a chest, but they discover it's a trap, and Nami deceived them to take their ship. She consults her map to determine her next destination. The scene shifts to Shell Town, at a Navy base, where Luffy and Kobe are eating and discussing how they managed to enter the base. In the same bar, Zoro, the bounty hunter, arrives with the enemy in his sack. Nami is also there and, due to her beauty, is being courted, but the man doesn't appeal to her. Instead, she approaches another man, shorter for some reason. The innkeeper's daughter offers Zoro some rice balls, and the little girl accidentally bumps into a marine who crushes the rice ball she made and frightens her. Zoro, being a good person, eats the crushed rice ball and tells the man he should apologize for scaring the child. The marine confronts Zoro and brandishes his sword. Zoro warns him not to do anything foolish, but the fool attacks him, initiating a fight between marines and Zoro, during which he easily defeats the weak men. Nami, who knocked down the marine, takes his clothes, while Luffy observes Zoro's fighting skills. After the fight, Zoro makes the marine take him to the base's chief, Captain Morgan, who wields an axe in one of his hands. Zoro asks for his reward for bringing the dead man. Morgan suggests that they could be good allies, but the bounty hunter insists he has personal matters to attend to. Morgan claims that he attacked Marines and gives Zoro a choice: either become a partner or stay imprisoned for 7 days. The next day, Zoro appears to have accepted, for some reason, to be a Marine prisoner. He warns Captain Morgan's son to make the most of the 7 days because when he gets out, they'll beg for their lives. Nami, disguised as a Marine, joins the others to infiltrate the Navy base and succeeds in doing so. Luffy also manages to sneak into the base using his abilities, where Zoro is imprisoned. Seeing him, Luffy expresses his amazement at Zoro's combat skills and suggests that he join his crew because he's going to be the next pirate king. Zoro says he's a pirate hunter but admits that Luffy is a good person. Zoro tells him that he made a promise to someone to become the world's greatest swordsman. Luffy is surprised by Zoro's ambition, and then he unties him without wanting anything in return, before leaving. Meanwhile, Nami gains access to the records and maps vault and searches for a map of the Grand Line. The secretary says they don't have any maps related to that location, and when the Marine she knocked down at the bar appears, she quickly grabs her staff, fights, and knocks out the 2 of them. Suddenly, Luffy falls from the ceiling and finds Nami there. They lock eyes and realize they're both searching for the same thing. They walk through the base, trying to avoid being seen. When they head towards Morgan's office, he blocks their path, and Luffy is impressed by Morgan's axe hand. To escape, Nami says she will serve him and has brought a prisoner. He lets them pass, and further ahead, she reveals that she managed to take the captain's keys. Luffy is impressed by young Nami's skills and asks her to join his pirate crew, but she refuses to get involved with him. The 2 of them reach Morgan's office and search for the document. Luffy accidentally activates a lever, revealing a safe. When Morgan arrives in the archives room and discovers the intrusion, he orders the alarm to be sounded. Seeing that Nami would take a while to open the safe and before Morgan invades his office, Luffy, using his strength, rips the piece from the floor, and they are catapulted outside. However, soldiers quickly arrive in droves, and they begin to face them, displaying their combat abilities. Suddenly, Zoro, who has recovered his swords, joins the fight and helps the 2 of them. However, they are about to face Morgan, a formidable Navy warrior. Nami fights against the other soldiers, and Zoro initiates combat with Morgan. He is soon joined by Luffy, but Morgan evades their blows. This time, the 2 of them manage to land a hit on the captain in unison, but Zoro notes that their opponent is quite strong. To meet the challenge, Zoro prepares himself and draws his 3rd sword, but with only 2 arms, he wields the 3rd one in his mouth. The attack begins, and Zoro demonstrates why he is so dangerous. With ease, he topples his opponent and subdues him, but Luffy delivers the finishing blow with an elastic kick. The 3 of them leave the headquarters, taking the safe with them, but Morgan's son points his guns at them, thinking he'll be a hero for capturing them. However, Kobe knocks him out with a punch and joins Luffy.
Unfortunately, Kobe states that he will remain in the Navy to fulfill his dream and will probably become their future enemy, but Luffy's mood remains unchanged as he still considers him a friend. They set sail without Kobe. Meanwhile, elsewhere at sea, an imposing ship sails the waters, with Captain Garp at the helm. He receives an alert about what happened at Morgan's headquarters and that the precious map was stolen by a pirate wearing a straw hat. A wanted pirate named Buggy, a clown, is also informed about the incident and declares that he will destroy anyone who stands in his way to obtain the map. On their boat at sea, Nami manages to open the safe and finds the precious Grand Line map. The three of them study where they will go and whom they might encounter, some very dangerous pirates. Luffy says that with this, they will find the lost treasure of the Pirate King. Suddenly, lights appear, and when they investigate, they discover that they are being attacked by smoke, causing them to pass out. However, before falling asleep, Luffy swallows the map since he can, thanks to his rubber-like stretching abilities. He also spots the pirate ship approaching through a porthole. At dawn, Luffy wakes up with his companions, realizing they are imprisoned. They want to plan something and fight, but Luffy says they don't always have to fight. Suddenly, they are released and realize they are in Buggy the Pirate Circus, with a captive audience of prisoners. Buggy enters the scene and approaches the three of them. He reveals that he had been planning to steal the map for months, but was outwitted by them. Knowing what Luffy did and that he hid the map, Buggy orders the others to be imprisoned while he talks to the new pirate. Moments later, while Zoro and Nami attempt to escape, the clown is stretching Luffy's limbs, but he realizes that it won't be enough to stop the dreamer pirate. Buggy asks him why he wants to become king, maybe to impress a false idol? Luffy wipes the smile off his face, prompting Buggy to take his hat and say he once knew someone who wore it, Shanks. They were friends and pirates on the same crew for a while, but Buggy didn't want to be in Shanks' shadow. Without revealing any information, Buggy grabs a girl from the audience and threatens to throw her into the air, but Luffy breaks free from his restraints and quickly punches the clown, knocking his head off. However, the clown Buggy ate the fruit that granted him the power to split his body into multiple parts, but he always returns to his original form. Shortly afterward, he knocks Luffy down again. Nami is almost succeeding in opening her cell, but Zoro, who is tied up, is confronted by a pirate who was the brother of one of those the bounty hunter killed. The pirate begins throwing kunai. Back at the Navy base, Kobe is called to talk with Garp and his aide Bogard. Suspecting Kobe, they question him about how long he has been working with the pirates who invaded the place, but Kobe says he doesn't work with them because he has always dreamed of serving in the Navy. Garp presses him, and in fear, Kobe tells the truth. He used to be a pirate's prisoner, but a good pirate named Luffy saved him. Garp is surprised by the pirate's name and asks if he owes loyalty to the pirate, but Kobe says that pirates must face justice, so Garp tells him he will find him with him. The scene shifts, and we see a memory of Luffy, who was alone in the ladies' bar when the pirates from earlier arrived. They are confronted by the small and powerless Luffy. Fortunately, Shanks appears to help Luffy, accompanied by his crew, who fight the pirates and demonstrate that they are not ordinary pirates, as they possess impressive abilities. When they regroup, they realize that Luffy has disappeared. Sometime later, the pirate takes Luffy further out to sea, planning to destroy him. However, a sea monster knocks them off the boat and devours the pirate. Fortunately, before Luffy drowns, Shanks saves him. Suddenly, the massive sea monster emerges from the water and looks at the two of them. It attacks and injures Shanks, but when the pirate looks directly at the creature, we discover his power. He can give orders for the creature to go away, and it obeys. They are happy together but lament the loss of one of Shanks' arms. Back at the clown's park, Luffy is in a glass cage that fills with seawater, rendering his powers useless. Buggy says that his friends abandoned him but offers him a position in his crew if he hands over the map. Luffy refuses. Buggy accelerates the filling of the glass cage with water. Meanwhile, the pirate who was trying to intimidate Zoro accidentally throws a kunai near the rope that tied up the bounty hunter, making him unnoticed. Nami manages to escape from her cell and gives him a kick. Zoro grabs him after freeing himself and knocks him out. Buggy, the clown, insults Luffy, who is submerged in the water, but soon has a surprise. Nami and Zoro have come to save their friend. After being pulled out of the water, Luffy retrieves the map from his throat and opts to grab his hat. The clown takes the map. Zoro tries to attack the pirate, but his sword cuts do not harm him. The pirate splits into several parts and attacks Zoro and Nami, leaving them lying on the ground. Luffy tries to injure him but fails. The clown takes out his blades and goes after Luffy, who manages to dodge. Buggy hits his hat and then grabs him, lifting him up. Seeing some crates, he gets the idea, and with the help of his friends, they start trapping parts of the pirate until only the head, feet, and hands remain.
Luffy then finishes the fight and throws him away using his bazooka attack.
Luffy takes the map and hands it over to Nami, his navigator. Then, he frees the imprisoned people. Back in Conch Town, at the Navy base, Garp imprisons Morgan for failing to capture the pirates, and he himself will lead the group of Marines in the search for the pirates, showing them that consequences await. We return to the past and see the day when Shanks says goodbye to Luffy, but before that, he gives him his hat, sealing a promise that he would return it when they saw each other again, and when Luffy became a great pirate, the best he'd ever seen. Back in the present, Nami sews Luffy's hat and gives it to him, leaving him very happy. This part ends with her going into the cabin and then calling someone, saying she has the map. On the other hand, Luffy gets excited about going to the Grand Line.